Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Sportscast Podcast. This week we'll take our usual roundup of the Premier League and ask whether the league is as competitive as it once was. Take a look at the Formula One and snooker news, as well as James bringing us the thrilling world of competitive ironing.
Good evening, gentlemen. We all right?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Liam, you good?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. How about you?
Oh, I'm buzzing. I'm on top of the world.
On top of the world, on top of the Premier League table.
Wow. Well, I didn't want to speak too soon, but yeah, what a game that was. Did any of you two boys catch it?
No, go on. We can talk about Arsenal first. At least we're not talking about snooker.
Well, what a great North London derby that was, especially from the Gooners, who were under a little bit of pressure considering there's not many games left. City had an easier game, but I did go and watch it, and it was a phenomenal game of football. If either you two caught it,
I didn't. The only thing for me out of this game was I saw this morning the last 11 games, Arsenal scored something like 34 goals and conceded about 6. So I called it very early on today to Tom, who obviously used to be part of this, that it was going to be 3, because obviously he's a Spurs fan, that it was going to be 3-1 Arsenal. And for a very long time, I was sat in the right sort of ballpark.
you were. I must admit, throughout the first half, when I was watching it, I was sat about with a couple of Spurs fans, and they were very critical of the referee. Didn't feel that points were going their decisions were going their way. Typical Spurs. But
I have seen the offside goal, and it was offside because at the point of contact he was in an offside position, and it wasn't a deliberate play from Tomiyasu. He's deflected it, but he's not past the ball. So it was an offside.
it was. I mean, if this would have been 2-3 seasons ago, I think a lot of people would have said it was very harsh, because it would have been given. So you'd have had the Arsenal fans going, "That's bullshit. It was offside." The Spurs were going, "No, it weren't," and there would have been that great banter backwards and forwards. It did look at one point he was being played onside by an arse cheek, but oh my God, did my heart jump! But hey, thank God for that. It was come the end of the first half. I was very much along the lines of this has got 5-6-0 written all over it. I think Arsenal were playing in such a manner that they thought they knew what Tottenham were going to do before Tottenham knew what they were going to do. And
I think everyone knows what Tottenham are going to do before Tottenham know what they're ever going to do.
yeah, absolutely. And give Spurs their due. And I'm not normally one for giving them their giving them a bit of something, but they did come out in the second half and did make a few changes which were a bit and ahhing at first. Bringing Maddison off when he's such a but it paid off. They played very well in the second half, Tottenham, and in the last 10 minutes or so, my ass was nipping up a bit. I thought, oh, this has got 3-3 written all over it. But the Gunners held out, top of the league, 4 points, happy days.
1 point now after Man City.
1 point now, after City beat Forest. The only thing that worries me with that is that City's game in hand is against Tottenham.
Yeah.
Now, does that, to me, that says Tottenham are going to beat arseholes and just roll over and take it just so Arsenal can't have it?
You'd hope not.
Yeah.
I'd hope not. But
Bear in mind, Spurs are currently hovering around the European places. So they're currently in 5th with 60 points. Man United are a fair way behind, 6 points behind on 54 points. But they're hovering around European action for next season. You'd think they'd want to kind of fight for every point for their own sake and not just to spite kind of Arsenal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but classic
funny.
Spurs will do. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
but, I mean,
Spurs have got a decent record against City. Spurs in the Premier League, they lost in the FA Cup this year, but you go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've only lost one of the last 5 against Man City.
A draw would
well,
be decent. A draw would be decent.
a draw would really spice things up a little bit.
Well,
Going
that
into
would take it to goal difference, which is what you said a couple of weeks ago, with Arsenal having a better goal difference.
Yeah, and you all laughed at me when I said it, and I think I said it to you earlier on, Liam. I still think this is going to go down to goal difference, you know, and it's really, really bloody close, you know.
The problem you've got is your running is Bournemouth, Man United, and Everton. Now, granted, Everton are all but safe now, so you're okay. Man United have still got something to play for.
Yeah.
But aside from Spurs, City have got Wolves, Fulham, and West Ham, and they're all a bit of nothingness. So I can't really see anyone pressing them. So I think that City have got the easier running.
Oh, City, without a doubt, have got the easier running. I'd like to think that.
Arguably, though, you've already played these teams. Arsenal have already played those teams. So kind of, it's all you've got to play every team twice anyway. So,
I mean, are we discounting Liverpool out of this as well? By the way,
yes,
yeah, Liverpool are done. Yeah, they're done.
So interesting what you've just said, James, about it being close. Do you guys know a man by the name of Mark Goldbridge?
No.
So he's basically a YouTuber and TikToker. He's a Manchester United supporter through and through, but he makes videos on YouTube where he live commentaries the Manchester United games. He'll watch them live and then react to them. Live reactions, basically bleeds Manchester United.
Okay.
And he's become a little bit kind of viral this week because he's gone on like a 40-minute bitch fit about how the Premier League is in his opinion is boring, and the Premier League is no longer the greatest league in the world, and how the Premier League is very predictable, yada yada yada.
That's funny, that being a Manchester United fan, considering they're shit at the minute, isn't
it? Well, this is the thing. So I think he's very moody anyway, but what I wanted to get your sort of thoughts on are, do you agree with him? Do you think the Premier League's boring? Do you think the Premier League is not the greatest league in the world anymore? Or do you just think that because United are sitting 6th, he's not a very happy bunny? And he's gained a lot of support with what he's saying.
Let James go first, because I think we're going to have contrasting opinions here.
See, I'm kind of on the fence with it in a way. I think if you didn't have Aston Villa sat in 4th and you had a Chelsea or United or someone like that up there, then I would probably tend to agree with him. It's getting a bit predictable. It's getting a bit, you know, your so-called, in inverted commas, top 6 teams. I would kind of get that. But I do think he's a little bit got the ump a little bit because they are sitting in 6th. They haven't been great this year, Man United. I think they're very, very fortunate to be in a 6th position considering the way they've been playing. I think the Bundesliga is probably coming up to being on par with the Premier League.
2 or 3 teams in the running there, I think.
There is, but I mean, Leverkusen doing what I mean, they nearly lost their unbeaten run yesterday, and they brought it back in a 90-odd minute or whatever to get a draw.
5th, yeah.
So I do still think that the Premier League is the best league in the world in the sense that you could have a Burnley drawing with Manchester United midweek 1-1 at Old Trafford. It's good in that respect, but I can see where he's coming from, where it is starting to get a little bit predictable. You are always going to have the similar teams up there in and around that.
Before you go, Liam, I just kind of putting it out there that he probably wasn't saying the same thing between like 1993 or 1992 and like 2013 when Manchester United won X number out of X number of years, like the majority of Premier Leagues. Like,
oh no, he wouldn't have been.
He's a bit of a whingy boy, and a lot of people do watch him, even though they're not Manchester United fans, when Manchester United lose, because he does get kind of arsey. But I mean, in just in the last 3 years, I've got the tables in front of me now. You've got, so this year is Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Villa, Tottenham. Villa again, cracking season from Villa.
Phenomenal.
Last season, Liverpool, Newcastle above Liverpool. The season before that, like West Ham, Chelsea up there as well. Teams can rise and fall, and you've seen that with like Leicester. You've seen that with Leeds United in the past. You've seen that with Blackburn. You've seen it with a lot of teams, and I think that the unpredictability comes with not just who's going to win the Premier League, but who's going to get the European slots, who's going to get relegated, and every point counts as a pound essentially. And I think it's a fantastic league, personally.
Do you know what? You hit on something that you just said something there that made my ears prick up a little bit. We all talk about who's in the title race, who's this, that, and the other, and that is what makes the Premier League exciting. But you're right in what you're saying. What makes it even more exciting is who are the ones going down? Because yes, Leicester, Leeds. I mean, my local team, Norwich, been up and down there. You possibly got Ipswich going up next year, and that, you're right. That is what makes it very interesting. Is the big teams, so-called big teams, going down, and I'm all for that. I like that.
Liam, your thoughts quickly?
I think the standard's the highest in the Premier League in terms of depth. I don't think it is the best league anymore. I don't. And what? So James says that. James says that about the your Leeds and your Leicesters, but Leicester's have come straight back up. Ipswich is going to go back-to-back promotions. That is a complete and utter outlier. But you've got Southampton and Leeds in the mix for in the playoffs. The three teams that went down last year, three teams that got promoted last year are the bottom three in the Premier League this year. I think
that's a shame. That is a shame. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
that does take away some of the. You need 2 years in the Premier League to set yourself up. Like the first year in the Premier League, you get some cash, and then
which is what Brentford have done. And
exactly.
I just think that yes, okay, the top four have become the top six. Don't know why. Don't know when. Maybe it's because the top four was what was especially what me and James know as growing up. Man United losing Fergie didn't make them a top four team, so they had to create a top six to bring Liverpool into that as well. Maybe I don't know, but I just think the standard is great. The fact that Villa not only are competing, for Champions League spaces, but also in Europe right to the end. They're not just got all their eggs in one basket, if you like. But then I think you touch on Bundesliga. Leverkusen have won it this year. Bayern Munich have won the previous 10. I think one of the most exciting leagues for that would be the Italian league. Inter Milan won it midweek against AC Milan. Talk about rubbing it in. But then you've had Napoli, Milan, Inter Milan, and Juve, the last winners. You've had sort of four different winners in the last 5 years.
I mean, Napoli are now mid-table.
Can you see what I mean? City for what has happened to Liverpool last year. They didn't win the league the year before. They didn't win the league and then come ninth. So I think I don't think it's an exciting league. They're exciting matches. I don't think there is an exciting league anymore. I think that the Italian league probably is the best for that, but it's a shame because I think the Premier League gets the biggest. There's a lot I don't like within the Premier League, though, the whole TV rights and things like that. I saw a thing midweek, two guys that two lads that flew to like somewhere North Spain from I think Newcastle for about 20 something pounds. Had a few beers, watched all the 3 o'clock kickoffs across like multi screens in the bar on the coast, and then flew home for less than a ticket.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've said that a few times, haven't we? That it's cheaper for us to fly from here to anywhere else in Europe and watch a game and come back again than it is to go and watch a top tier team in the Premier League.
You only have to watch.
Like the trains are absolutely ridiculous, and the coaches, obviously, a lot of the football fans go on the coaches and stuff, but the trains are also packed.
You only have to watch.
I mean, for example, I'm travelling down to London in a few weeks for an event that I've told Liam about, but I'm travelling down there in a few weeks, and just a return journey from Great Yarmouth to London is costing me 80 quid.
You could fly to Madrid and back 3 times for that.
I got a return trip to Alicante last year for £73.
Anyway, before we discuss the downfall of Great Britain, shall we move on to quickly Formula One? A couple of bits out of Formula One. I'll fly through this bit. So, firstly, probably the biggest news out of Formula One, Ferrari, famous Ferrari red, gone blue for Miami, Liam.
Ooh.
Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
They've gone a really nice shade of blue as well, like the race suits and the actual livery of the car for Miami is going like a kind of electric blue. As well as that, it marks the 70th anniversary of the first Ferrari sold in North America. So kind of tying to 2 bits of cool little nostalgia and stuff, as well as the Miami Grand Prix, all in one thing.
From this weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
Very odd. No, I hadn't seen that, but look forward to that, actually.
Bit of news is Hulkenberg to Sauber for 2025.
I find that weird.
I do find it weird. I can't
drive for it in a minute.
He drives for Haas at the moment, which is a backmarker team anyway, and he's going to another backmarker team. But that backmarker team next year is going to be taken over by Audi, which obviously is a humongous name in motorsport also, with the Le Mans and with a lot of the rally racing and things like that. They're entering Formula One. They're using their own engines, their own powertrains. They're bringing on, but they're buying a team basically, or they're taking over a team, should I say? But I don't want to spend too long on it because I don't understand it. I can't unpick the bones of whether they are keeping him as like a keep the seat warm kind of thing, so that they can bring in a bigger driver in 2026 when the new regs come in.
He's 36 now.
Yeah.
And he's not a Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton ability in the sense of could probably race to his 42 and win a world title.
No, he can fight. I've seen him fight multiple times against other backmarkers, but he's not. I don't understand it. I don't want to spend too long on it because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't understand is Helmut Marko rumoured to leave Red Bull. The only thing I will say on this is I hope Lawrence Stroll has super deep pockets, which, well, actually, I know Lawrence Stroll has super deep pockets. I hope Adrian Newey goes to Aston Martin. That would make my year.
And not Mercedes or not Ferrari?
No, don't want to see it. I want to see Aston Martin do well. As much as I dislike Lance Stroll, which was made evident last week, for anyone that did listen, I want to see Fernando Alonso do well. I also want to see Aston Martin do well, more so than I want to see Ferrari do well next year, because I just don't like Lewis Hamilton's attitude recently. But there we go. Maybe I'm just tying myself in social.
Dead quick on the snooker then. We're in the second round at the minute. We saw a record get equal this year of 8 of the top 16 seeded players. So obviously top 16 best players in the world. 8 of them went out in the first round. Mark Selby, last year's winner, Luca Brissell, Mark Williams, Ali Carter, Wilson and Ding Junhui all went out in the first round. So
why do you think that is? Do you think it's complacency, or did just good snooker?
I think it's been a tough draw this year. I think Ali Carter went out to Maguire, who has been at the Crucible for the last 20 odd years, but he didn't get there last year, so he's had a bit of a bit between his teeth. He's knocked previous winner Sean Murphy out today, so there's a bit of. Last night, Murphy gave a bit of a fist bump after he won a frame, and Maguire's like looking all confused, like, "All right, mate," you know. So when he did beat him, he went mental fist bumping to try and rub it in. But talking of shithousery at its finest, Luke Littler on Thursday night, the Premier League darts was in Liverpool.
Yeah, saw this.
And the previous night in Liverpool, Everton beat Liverpool.
Woo.
So he gets called out. He's doing his walk down, and because he's a big Man United fan, he's just walking down with the 2-0, right? 2 fingers and a 0 up.
Oh, that's
So-
shit actually of the highest level, that is.
And then went on to win the evening.
Oh,
So
hello, wound on the salt. Let me rub in.
yeah, just backed it up like you would not believe. So yeah, that's my little roundup from what I've caught this weekend. A couple of big games and a couple of good results in the rugby with Harlequins beating the Saints, but the league's not over yet. So
Speaking of rugby, we were speaking privately a few weeks ago about Lewis Rees-Zabbit being drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. Have you seen the new one?
Clayton, yeah, have you?
Clayton? Yeah.
Have you read about this? He played in the 8th tier of rugby for Basingstoke.
I mean, I think I played in the 6th tier of rugby, so I mean, I might give it a go. You know what I mean?
He's 6'7", and he ran a 4:79 40-meter dash.
Yeah.
Put into perspective, Rees-Zabbit ran a 4:50. He's been drafted by the Bills as an offensive lineman, which means Clayton has now ran the fastest 40-meter dash for an offensive lineman ever.
Could this? I mean, they tried it a few years back, didn't they? In the NFL, they tried to draft English or British rugby players.
Well, Christian Wade went out, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, are we starting to possibly see something happening here? I mean, yes, that's the second British rugby player that the NFL have now drafted this year. But I mean, if the NFL start looking a bit more internationally, especially when it comes to sevens, could we be looking at Kiwis or Fijians playing?
I think that's a different. I think that's a different style of play, how they play, but
possibly. But I mean,
this international pathway is what's led to that. So I think we'll see a lot more come through that. I know. There's been a few other rugby guys go over, a couple of other like Irish GAA players and stuff like that. So yeah, I think we will. I think the game's evolve, the game's changing on both parts. So you've got bigger players and everything else. So I do think you'll see it change quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah. We'll not try not keep it too long. So I know that there must be something peculiar going on out in that world, James. What is it?
Well, this week I'm going extreme.
How extreme?
I'm going to the extreme world of ironing.
Hiding.
I'll tell thee for free, right?
Hold on. This could be my sport.
What?
I don't love ironing. I'm fantastic at ironing.
I've already signed my wife up. We're banging. So the Extreme Ironing World Championships. It is a sport, and it was founded in 1997 in the UK. And there are several countries that compete in this. I mean, Great Britain have 3 teams.
Cool.
I know, along with Austria, Australia, Chile, Croatia, and the Germans. And the Extreme Ironing Championship consists of ironing different items of clothing in different disciplines. So we are talking ironing in the urban discipline. So that can be in or around or on a car or a park, say, or in the water where you can kneel on a surfboard was
So it's
ironing.
not about the quality of ironing, it's about whether you can balance it.
Well, you do get points for the quality of ironing. It's not just about where you do it, it's how you do it. The forestry one is I'm a big fan of that. You can take your ironing board to the top of the tree, set it up and crack on.
And there are rules within this. It has to be a proper iron. Your item of clothes has to be bigger than a tea towel. Yeah.
I mean, the size of the extension lead for the iron must be fucking massive, but you can have rock climbers climbing up the top of a 400-500 meter mountain face with an iron board and an iron.
I would argue it's not necessarily about the ironing and who can iron in the most obscure location.
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, the British team prepared for the championships by taking an iron board and iron up Ben Nevis, Scarfell Pike, and Snowdon to practice.
Interesting. See, I've got a big steam iron. I think mine would be too heavy. I might have to invest in like one of those travel ones.
Yeah. I thought I'd seen it all until I saw a fully grown man climbing up a mountain iron in a bloody shirt and a tie. But who'd have thought that, eh?
Interesting.
That is, yeah.
Probably not as wild as Kabaddi, but still good.
Yeah. Well, for me, Kabaddi's got a place in my heart. But
I mean, they've had several records. I say records very loosely, have been set in regards to extreme ironing by people ironing whilst skydiving or scuba diving, or I don't know. I mean, I've been very fortunate to do a skydive out of a plane, and the last thing I think about doing is ironing my socks. I'm too busy shitting myself wondering whether or not the parachute's going to open. But it's a thing, and I give it a go.
Fair enough. First thing I'm googling when we come off this podcast is has anybody ironed on the moon?
No, but they have played golf.
Well,
true.
Well, let me throw this one out for you. Have we ever been to the moon?
I think that's a good place to leave this, and we will let people discuss that this week, and then we'll catch up next week. We've only got a couple of weeks left of the Premier League season. There'll be the Miami race whilst recording next week, probably. Yeah. So we'll get a bit of an update on that.
Sounds good.
Take care.
Take care, guys. See you later.
Guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sportscast podcast. As normal, you'll get us on our social media, Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, @SportscastPodUK. Join us again next week.